the podcast where we explore personal experiences in creative growth. I'm your host, Nienke Schellinghout-Diaz, and today I'll be speaking to Lada Chizhova. Lada is a self-taught illustrator and author whose creative story took an unexpected turn in her 30s. Growing up in her artistic family in Russia, Lada spent years thinking she wasn't creative. At 31, she rediscovered her creative identity, and now she works on projects for a variety of clients as an artist and illustrator. Besides this journey of self-realization, we also speak about migration, creativity in parenthood, and why valuing your creative work is so important. I hope that you enjoy listening to her as much as I did.
Thank you for inviting me in this podcast.
I'm very excited. You're obviously our first guest. So I tend to start with a question that is a little bit light, which is, what's lighting up your creative world at the moment?
This is really a hard question in the beginning. I just spent some time chatting with my friend today. She's also an artist and she has this creative crisis moment, and we spoke about this creative crisis thing. She says that in each crisis there is a growth, and for me I feel this is not a growth, but this is a moment when I just need to push me to work. And I don't like to rest or to do nothing. When I have this crisis, I just push me and work. And actually, I am a little bit close to the burnout, like light one now, but her words, they were just refreshing my mind, and like, Lada, you need to stop, you need to listen to your friend and just have some space to rest. So today is the day when I just need to remember that sometimes you are just a person, not an artist, not a content creator, not an illustrator, and not even a mom, just a Lada who need to rest.
Wow, I mean, you're opening with like something extremely deep, which I love, because it's certain that we put so much pressure on ourselves, and I think a lot of creative people do that particularly. But then, yeah, we end up having these crises, which are often self-induced. You said, I think your friend said, okay, well, like every crisis is a moment of growth. So you were saying, okay, well, you kind of like pushing through that would mean you. So I stumbled upon you and what you make in one of your reels that you shared on Instagram. And as soon as I saw it, I thought I need to speak to this woman, like, because you described there how you grew up in a family of artists. Your parents were artists, but not with a lot of creative confidence. So I think I took note of one of your captions. If I can read that out, then that gives a little bit of context in your voice. So you write, I didn't realize I was an artist until 31. I grew up in an artist family. I always drew and wrote poems, but to my parents I was never talented enough. They didn't teach me self-belief. I already had projects, even a book, but still used to say, I'm not an artist, I just make stuff. But around 31, I started to be honest to myself. Now I'm 34, I'm a parent too, and I'm a very good artist. And I know that talent is an empty concept. You don't need talent to make things, you need interest. Now, there's so many things I love about that, but first off, I'd love to hear a little bit more about your experience growing up with artist parents. What was that like?
First of all, I was born when my parents were really young, and my first children memories, this is the memories from student dormitory of Art Academy in Moscow, and that was a really common thing that people study in this academy, and also they have kids, and we used to live in one small room, shared room, all three together, and my father was studying in academy and mom was there as a free listener in some courses, and I remember these artist parties, like student parties, when your parents and their friends who are also artists, like painters, sculptors, architects, they're drinking wine, and you just play with these toys around this party, and this is all together. And I just remember how they, of course, when you have these creative people as your parents, you see always how they dress, how they make jokes, how they spend their free times, how they celebrate New Year Eves. And actually, I think I don't really know how to live without this creativity in the family. And my parents, they were also a little bit interesting. So our family was a little bit disbalanced, because my father and my mother, they are both artists, but my father was like a main artist at home. That would be really crazy, I think, for our generation. But in my family, that was like that my father, he created, and my mother was like a support of this artist. And my father never took commercial projects, and my mother was responsible for all money for commercial projects. And I didn't realize till the end of the school that this is something really wrong with this system. I saw the big love between them, and like this figure of my dad that was so powerful. And just in the end of the school, I realized that actually this is really, really wrong, something about that. And I started to ask questions, my parents, myself, the world. And of course, now I think this is really crazy. But that was like that.
Yeah, so I mean, you describe really growing up in a real environment that's saturated with creativity and artists. Yet, as you describe in your video, you didn't think you were that creative or that much of an artist. Can you tell us a little bit about why that disparity came about?
Yeah, I used to draw like all the time because I saw my parents drawing, and I always brought my paintings or drawings to my father. Of course, the father is a main artist, and he always used to say like, good, but you know, you need to work more. He never would say something like this and this is interesting in this painting. He will always say something like, good, but you can maybe better. And he never said something opposite. And I learned that maybe I'm not really talented enough in drawing. And also I saw how my parents sometimes, they were really excited of drawings of their friends' children. And I was like, why they're so excited of that and not of my stuff? And I was really disappointed, and I just stopped drawing, and I started to write poems. I think I started to write poems from 10 years old, and I was trying to write and read as much as I can. I also used to bring it to my father, and he always used to tell me like, nice poem, but you know, you can do it better. And that was like that. But with writing, I was more confident because my father isn't a writer, I think. So I just switched in this direction. And my writing was growing and growing and growing. And after, in the middle of the school, when you have decision in Russia, like you can learn till the end of the school and go to university, for example, or you can quit it a little bit early, for 2 years early, and go to the college. And I thought maybe I can go to the art college, and I asked that to my parents, like, can I when I go to the artist college in Suzda, and they said, you know, Lada, you are not talented enough, and we don't think you could apply there. And also, you know, there are enough poor artists in our family. Maybe you can just learn something more serious, you know. Artists think this is not something serious in Russia, I think. Yeah, and I was really angry and really disappointed. I remember still this conversation, and I stopped drawing at all. And I applied to creative writing bachelor degree in Moscow, and so I became a poet, had my book published, and participated some festivals, and I went to this literature direction after that. I used to draw. We made with my husband, we made 2 hostels in St. Petersburg after, and all those hostels were painted from the floor till the ceiling, and there were many paintings inside these hostels, and I drew illustrations for our gift cards, for our festivals in St. Petersburg. So I always drew, but I always used to you know, I'm not an artist. I'm not an illustrator. I just do things.
Yeah, this is so interesting, right? Because now you seem to have a very different look on this. But I wonder also to what degree this idea of, well, I'm not actually making art because I'm making something that has a commercial purpose because it's for my hostel, it's for this thing. Does that go back to this duality that you found between, you know, your dad was the real artist that could only express pure art, there was no commercial thing tainting that, and then your mum was the one who brought in the money with commercial projects, and that was seen as less prestigious in a way. Do you feel like you carried that with you in your journey?
I think I think I had some guests in the hostel who can say something like, well, Lada, cool paintings, do you know people can buy it? Like, can you imagine that people can buy it and for some reasons? And like, no, of course not. This is just decorations. Nobody will buy it. This is not art. And I was really used to say that like out loud, like this is not art. I was really sure that it wasn't art. And I think that was like an excuse. Like, I do that because we need to feel our interior, or we need to make some illustrations for the promo campaign of the festival. That was like an excuse that I make some things which can be beautiful and they can be useful in this marketing stuff.
I really relate to this because for me, I have a very similar backstory. I was always making things and I wanted to make my dad proud, and then, you know, he didn't really get the art stuff, so I ended up doing design and then went to art school, got traumatized, left and just stopped pursuing it as my vocation, and instead would make things. Like, people would ask me, can you make a logo for this thing, or can you like make a mural? And so I'd make a mural. But I'd always feel like, yeah, but that's not serious. But then now I also feel like that's changed entirely. So for you, where did that switch happen? How was that?
That wasn't like a moment. That was the process, I think. And I think this is all about immigration and losing everything, because I'm not sure that if we will live now still in Russia and do our hostel, I don't think that maybe I will call myself an artist now in this age. But we lost everything. My husband is a politician from opposition, and that wasn't safe for us to stay in Russia. And we sold our hostels and just picked our things, took our children and went to Turkey. And in the Turkey, we were like in this zero phase when you just you are nobody, you don't have a profession which is valuable in online world, because we used to have hostels and my husband is a history teacher and I'm a poet. Like, what is it? You write in Russian, like, and you live in Turkey. What is going on? And we started to think like, we need something to do with our life. We have nothing. This is like, you know, when you just graduated after school, but you have also kids. And this is really a hard situation when you need really fast to find something you need to do now. And we decided, because we had some money after selling our hostels, we decided to sit and learn and study. I was in an online course for graphic design basics, and each my projects used to contain these illustrations made by me. In the end of this course, I just looked at all my projects and realized that actually I like making illustrations much more than making these layouts. And I understand, for example, typography, but I don't love it. But drawing, this is what I love. And I thought maybe I'm an illustrator, and I started to call myself an illustrator. I just signed it in Instagram and started to say, like, you know, this is my new profession. And that helped me really much, because I just made this window of research, or like of learning, so small, and that was just illustration. And for a self-taught artist, I think this is really important to make these things clear, like what you need to learn to achieve this and this and these goals. And that was really cool, and I started to have more and more clients after I started to call myself an illustrator. And that was the first step. And another step, like second and final step, here in Germany, last year I had an exhibition with my friend, photographer Tamara Apteker, and we hanged our works in the gallery. And my husband asked me, like, Lada, can you imagine how much could this or this cost? I'm like, what? No. And there were my analog works, like works which I made for myself, like for fun, like collages, sketches, all of that. And I said, like, nobody will buy it. Why do I need the price list? And my friend Tamara and my husband, they were like, no, Lada, you must have this price list for the opening. I thought, okay, I will just make it because they say it, but haha. And then in the exhibition, that was like that all people starting to ask, like, can I buy that? Can I buy this? And even the big work, big college, as tall as I am, that was also sold. And for normal price, not like a cheap price. And I was like, wow, what is happening? And after this exhibition, I was sitting at home and I'm like, what was that? And my husband Dima, he said, like, Lada, you are an artist and you always were an artist. Like, why you don't believe it? Yeah, so that was this.
Sorry, I just get really emotional by this. I do get really emotional by that, because it just, how do you feel about the fact that has been kind of not, you haven't been able to embrace that for so long?
Actually, I first after this exhibition, I was really happy that that was like a freedom. Like, wow, I finally met myself. I looked at myself and I'm like, Lada, hi, finally, I know you. But after I was a little bit angry, because I understood that all of that was because of my parents, because I am not self-confident enough to say like I made this work and present it and be proud of this work. And also around this time of exhibition, I was listening to the podcast, and this art director from publishing house from USA, maybe he said that the common problem of many illustrators who send their works, that they don't believe in their works by themselves. And as an art director, you can see it, feel it, and if you made something, be proud of it. And I thought, wow, I need it in my head. That was the point. And after this period when I was angry of my parents, I was like, okay, I'm not a kid anymore. This is not the reason to be angry. It brings nothing to my life, and I need just to move on and be free.
Yeah, I get that. I mean, it's almost like a process of grief, right? Where you go through part of like a bit of shock, and then eventually like, you're sad for like, like if only my environment had like taught me to value myself. And then going to a point of like, there's no point. I just need to accept that was the journey. When you reach that level of acceptance and look back on all the other things you did, like running the hostels, for instance, are there things you've taken away from that have actually led you to become the artist you are today?
I'm not sure, but I think, of course, I think I have so much really different experience in my life. I think that all experience you have, and actually experience of having your own business, your small business, when you make everything, like from HR to interior design, from, I don't know, cleaning and service and hosting to some marketing campaigns. This is really creative something, and making business and being freelancer, this is also something really creative. And I think it helps me a lot to, for example, understand how to promote the exhibition, or how to promote my workshops, or how to tell about me to catch the attention not of the illustrator fellows, but from art directors. And I think this is the big part of being an artist, an illustrator, to be able to tell about your work in a good way. Yeah,
I love that. It's very true, and I guess very valuable skills that not every person just picks up in one go, to be able to self-promote. And it's lovely that you reach this point of valuing your work, right? Do you feel like that has changed? I mean, this process of realizing there is an inherent artistic quality to what I make. Has that changed the way you approach your process as an artist?
Yeah, it definitely changed, and I just stopped throwing out my paintings and sketches, because before I could not say how many of them I threw out. I drew, I can hang it even on the wall, but after several months I'm like, okay, I don't need it anymore, just put it in the trash can. And now I keep almost everything, and I understand, I also know myself better now, and I know that even if I didn't like something I made today, I need to leave it for 1 month, for example, and then it could be opposite. I can just open the box with some sketches or my sketchbook, and I can feel really different about them.
Why? Why is it like that? Because I totally get that. I have that too, and I've also stopped are not entirely stopped. There's still some sketches I throw away, but I look at things now and I'm like, no, I don't like that right now, but I might like it in a week. Why is that? What?
This is because you have a vision. As an artist, you have a vision how it should be. And for example, something goes not this direction, and in the end, you have a maybe even you have something which created like 100% as you imagined that, but you just see the final work and feel not comfortable with that. I think just when you put it somewhere in the dark, and then after 1 week, after 1 month, you just look at it with a fresh eyes, and you don't have any feelings for this work. You just forgot of that, and you see it a little bit different, like that wasn't you who created it or something. So this is just different mood, and you can see it with this calm mood, with these fresh eyes, and this is just great not to throw it out immediately.
I concur with that. I think you're touching upon something where it's like it detaches from your ego, because when you're really I think conscious about what you're making, your ego is very much like, that's the perfectionist part. It's like going, if it's not good, I don't like it, because then it's going to say something about me, and ego is fragile. But the moment it's like been detached and you forget that it actually was made by you, in a way, then you can see it as a spectator would. I mean, my work has become much more experimental. Like, I just play and then see what comes out. I never used to be like that. I used to be very like scripted and rigid in what I made, and now I'm like, let's turn this into a fun thing. But I feel like the more I do that, the more experiment, like you come out of your taste, right? Because you're like pushing the boundaries. And then the first time you do that, you're like, this I don't like this. But then you give it some time, and then your taste is like, learn to accept that, and it broadens, and you're like, oh no, this is actually very interesting. Like this color and that color, that actually works now. Like, I don't know if you've experienced that as well in your work. Your work looks very playful and experimental as well. So I wonder if that's something that's always been there, or it's also evolved over time.
I think I can show you my illustrations, for example, which I made in Turkey 3 years ago, and that would be really, really far away from what I do now. And of course, this is like the process when you learn and learn and learn new things, and also about searching for the style. And I am also not free with some experiments. I can, for example, experiment in my sketchbooks, but in this illustration process, usually I am really conservative. And I also work on it with my therapist, because he always says to me, like, Lada, when you tell about a book you bought last week, you say how free it is, how playful it is, and you're so excited about this illustrator, but you are so, for example, unhappy with your project because you said that this isn't so free, so playful. And maybe you need to push yourself to experiment, like have 1 day in a week for these experiments. And actually, all these conversations with my therapist, they helped me a lot to just move these boundaries. I really like how you talked about that, because when you just move this border a little bit, you see that actually more things are possible. Yeah, and you learn how to love them, how to let them in your art. and this is worth it.
Like, how's the art been on your journey of migration? Because I can imagine, you were describing a really big change. You'd had to leave Russia, you ended up in Turkey. Suddenly, the skills that you were using in Russia weren't allowing you to, say, make a living in Turkey, or then what role did art play there? Because
So me and my husband, we are like, I don't know, 200% optimists. We still believe that, Russia will be free, and even now. I think we both really, we try to always try to find some good things in all situations, in all places we live, in all countries, with I don't know, everywhere. And this ability to see good things and don't really care of some bad things, it helps you really much. And I really feel that this immigration to Turkey, that was something really cool, because of course we had so much fear that we just, I don't know, our money will end and what we will do. We have two kids, we don't speak Turkish, and we weren't sure that Germany will give us these political visas. But I like to connect with people always. Like, I'm really an extrovert. And I saw how many problems are in Turkey, political, economical. But that was a country which was really welcoming for us, and I was really, really like. I can just say thank you for that, and I saw how beautiful it is, how cool, how many cool people are there, and also in Germany. In Germany, that was also like that, and I think in my art, I just realized one day that I can't draw, for example, the war, or I can't draw something about repressions, because then I just jump in this emotional hole, and I could not go up from that. And I think my all illustrations, they're a little bit too positive. They have their humor, and this is just because I think it helps me to live through all this really bad war situation and immigration and everything. And also I think maybe it also helps other people who see them, like a light in a dark time, like something like that. First I thought a little bit ashamed, like so many artists, they draw these posters about the war, about some really bad things happened in Ukraine, but I just can't. I feel speechless as an artist, because I just emotionally it is very hard for me. And I think these 3 years, this is like this positive direction in my art, and sometimes people ask why they're always on the move, why they always smile, and why everything is so crazy. And I don't have answers for that. I just feel like this is maybe a little bit escaping from this dark world, but I don't know. You could not survive mentally when you just read this bad news one day, another day, and another day. You just need to breathe, and I hope that my art is a little bit like this breathe.
Like something that helps you float, like a balloon, to keep you uplifted and to carry you through this, because I can imagine, not everyone is as sensitive, but those of us who are, and I definitely count myself as one of those people too, I need to really manage what I expose myself to. And I certainly feel like art and making art is a very therapeutic thing as well. So I can understand the relationship there of wanting to carry that, like help you carry you through that experience. Yeah, very lovely. And I really also, you know, believe that when we put that energy in a piece of work, it has the potential to reach people in that way. So I'm sure it has, which is, yeah, always a good thing, I think. Okay, so another thing I think I would really wanted to talk about is you sharing your process on Instagram. So you see a lot of artists that share, you know, this is how I made X, Y, Z. But your content is a lot more like, this is my process of like becoming an artist and what that was like, and I suppose the mental structures that shifted in that, and here's my experience, like, you know, starting with workshops. There's a lot of like, you know, meta levels that you share and are very intimate and vulnerable in your work.
I think if we will speak about social media, this is also a part of marketing stuff, and of course I think each of us, we also play maybe a little bit a role, and of course all this content in social media, when somebody shows you the process of making art, or, for example, me speaking in this video about how I realized that I'm an artist in my 31, this is something about storytelling. And I think that just film the process of making something, it's not so interesting as those stories from my life as an artist. When you just draw, it says nothing about you as an artist, and usually this made for some fellow artists who just want to learn new things. But if you say about you like as a person who is also an artist, and you just open this door like a little bit deeper, you show people the way of thinking, and this is something I think which is more interesting than just the process of drawing. So I just think what I can tell, what is my story, and I just tell my story.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah. Whilst I was also scrolling through your Instagram, I also noticed, oh, you have a child. So how has your experience and the realization that you've gone through, how does that influence how you approach your connection to her and her creativity?
Yeah, so I have 2 daughters, not just one, I have 2. And they are really, really creative, really creative. And I think I need to say that I am that mom who is okay when your child just draws on the toes, like on the tights with markers, and then we go outside like that. Or I don't know, my children always paint on their faces with markers, and this is also really funny, and I'm also okay with that. Or I can, for example, buy white night lamps in IKEA because I think maybe it is a good idea my children to draw on them, paint them. And we have now like several lamps just covered with children drawings. So, for example, something like that, my parents will never like let me make. But also, I think I'm a little like my father, and that's why I go to the therapist. Because he always was like pushing you in this artistic way of thinking of his. For example, I grew up in this strong belief that just some artistic movie like Tarkovsky or Bergman, this is something which is worth to see, to watch. But and for my husband, he was like, I don't know how to watch movies with you. You always say about that and that, some snob things. I just, it took so much time to understand for me that even, I don't know, Marvel, Disney movies, they're also a big part of our culture, and you need to watch them to understand also the life now. And I always have this fear to push my children, for example, this music, what we love, or these books we love to read, Like, I really don't want to push them there, but sometimes I think I do these mistakes because, for example, in our family, only I just buy picture books. Only I just decide what we will read. They can pick up books from the bookshelf, but on this bookshelf, that will be just these books I like. As a parent who read, of course, I have an excuse because I don't want to read what I don't like for kids. But also, I feel like sometimes maybe we need to buy this unicorn pink book because children want that. But I think I'm not like a 100% ideal mother, and I already told about my therapist several times in this conversation.
I mean, I think that is you sounds like you've got a very good therapist, so congratulations on that. I also wonder to what degree, as parents, I mean, I'm not a parent, but I reflect a lot now on my late mother, and she was very pushy with those kinds of things. She's Colombian, very proud of her culture, and she was definitely like spoon feeding me this because I grew up in the Netherlands. So for her, as a Colombian mother, that was like giving me your culture, and she wanted that culture to stay. And for the longest time, I did not gel with it. I wanted to like listen to Britney Spears and Shakira, but then later I went into my emo phase, and she was just like, oh, when is she gonna get what I get? And more recently it's there, and it's there in like how I dress, it's there in my art as well. And I realized, as parents, we think that we are pushing them away by pushing them.
Yeah.
But it's you just trying to impart what you love, right? And that might not at first glance be received by children, because when they grow up, they want to be different to their parents. But I think most people eventually tail back and they kind of become like their parents. But I think is there something there maybe it's not just pushing, but it's kind of going, look, this is what I love, please love it as well,
Yeah, I think actually I am really, really thankful for my parents that they gave me so much like knowledge. For example, in art, I know so many things in art. I saw so many artworks. I spent so many boring hours in museums, but I really, it helps me a lot, and I still really interested in history of art. And I think this is just cool when you can watch Bergman in your childhood. Not many adults watched his movies, and this is just something which built me also as a person and as an artist. But I also think that I was really happy that I met my husband Dima, and he showed me really different world, and he was so and he is so supportive that just with him I realized that you can just be anywhere, like you can be who you want, and nobody will judge you. And I have now this balance, like with my really pushy parents in my childhood and my really supportive husband in my grown life, and all this together, I think that works good. And in my family now, we have 2 kids, and we have mom and dad, and I'm always one who is really emotional. I am about this creativity and some art stuff, and I always like a little bit pushy. And my husband, he is really different role model, and he's really supportive. He's like, you need to do your own mistakes, fall down from this tree. He just let this space for children to do their own mistakes. And I think like our family, we both make it a little bit balanced. So I don't know if I would be just one mother who raised the children alone. Maybe it would be really bad concept because I can be too pushy. But I have now Dima who can say like Lada, 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 now, just step back.
Yeah, so it's good they're balancing each other out and working as a team there. Yeah, nice. Okay, I'd like to maybe ask you one like last question to wrap this up. So more in terms of if you could write a letter on creativity, a few phrases to your younger self, what would you say to them?
I think that would be two letters. I think one letter would be like, Lada, you know, you live now in St. Petersburg and all rooms are so cheap, you can rent it for nothing and make your own art studio in the center of the city. Go for it! Because, you know, in Germany I could not imagine like something like that. Also, another letter will be like, you know, you need to learn self-belief. Just go to the therapist as soon as you can. Yeah, so that would be
excellent. I love these messages. One is just go and do it, like all the opportunities that are out there, just take them. And two, self-belief, because I guess that comes first. Without the self-belief, you're not going to take the action. Like the self-belief comes first, I think. And I think you bring a very inspiring story to a lot of people with what you make and how you share that. And I want to say thank you for doing that, and also thank you for taking part in this conversation today. I'd say everybody who's watched this, go and check out Lada's Instagram. It's ladach, LADACH.illustration on Instagram. And obviously, if you are someone that needs illustrations, go and check it out because I think she does a very good job. Great, thank you very much today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting me, and thank you for this conversation. It is also great when you're answering questions, you're reflecting your life a little bit also.